Hello fellow YouTubers, Bear Prepper here. Today we're going to make Bear's beef supper dish from food storage. Yep, another food storage meal. I get an awful lot of requests for food storage meals because I think when you're beginning you don't really know what to do with them, and so I try to accomplish that for you so that you have an idea of what you can do. Now, a lot of my food storage that I have in my buckets I put in other containers to use from. So let me show you my bucket so you know I'm not fibbing. So this is what my bucket pantry looks like. I keep my buckets down here. They're too deep, and I actually use product out of them. I love this shelf. Just got this recently to take care of my buckets. And that right there is some strawberry berry wine that is just about done. Beautiful. Okay, so this is where I keep all my supplies that are bulk items. So you see that I do use what I store and store what I use. And that's what you need to do. You've already seen my other shelf, but I'll show you again. This is also my daily storage for what I use. Use what you store, store what you use. And that's not including what's in my cabinets and pantry, which are mostly my number 10 cans. As the cans get low, I put them in mason jars and I put them on the shelf. And sometimes I put them in gallon jars when they're in my buckets, like that flour there. Alright, so let's get back to making our dish. I've taken my ground beef here and I went ahead and just browned it up so it wasn't kind of light. You know how it gets kind of light in jars? This is actually venison ground beef. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put that in my crock pot. Now this meal, you can rehydrate everything, and that's what I wanted to show you in this jar. You can rehydrate it and then just heat it up on the stove. And the way you rehydrate is just take a gallon jar, put in what you want that needs to be rehydrated, and fill the jar up, not all the way because it's going to expand as it shrinks up the water. And then overnight it all rehydrates really nice, and so you can make it a quick, fast meal. So I'm going to pour this in, and this is probably about 2 cups, maybe 3 cups of my water. I'd say 2 cups. Nah, 3. Let's say 3 because I'm looking at it now and it looks like 3. And I always cook way too much for just a couple people, but I take the leftovers and I freeze them up for work, for lunches. I've got some chives that I got from my garden, garlic chives. I'm going to throw some of those in there. I buy black pepper in bulk and I refill this container. And so I'm going to throw this in there. Probably about a teaspoon of black pepper. Now you're not going to cook with salt because we're going to use bouillon in this one. I've got some baby bellas, mushrooms that I dehydrated. Everybody loves them. So I'm going to put a few of those in. A handful, so that's probably a half a cup, maybe a little more. And then I have the mushrooms I found online in bulk. They come in 15 pounds bags, and I'm going to put about a cup of those in. We are a mushroom family. We all love them dearly. I take my onions from my can and I put them in my container here. And I am going to put about, I don't know, let's see, how many do I want to do? I want to do, that's probably 2 tablespoons of onions. I already put in some garlic powder, about a tablespoon of garlic powder, granules, so it's not really fine, into my meat already. I have a half a cup of flour. for thickening. I don't have any cumin. This is great with cumin, but I do have this bajol that someone gave me that is cumin based. And we will throw about 2 teaspoons of that in. I don't measure. You know, make it to your taste. Bouillon. Now, it depends on how salty you like it. What I like to do is, normally it takes about a half a cup. So I'll dish out about a half a cup, but I'll only put a quarter cup in. Let it cook for a little while, and then I'll add some more as it needs it. Never more than half a cup. Carrots. Love these carrots. They rehydrate really well. You don't have to soak them overnight. And I am going to put a half a cup of carrots in. Now we're going to add water to cover. Let's mix up some of this flour here. Get that mixed in. You know, you got to learn to do variety for your family, because nobody ever said you had to eat badly when SHTF happens. You can really eat well. You just have to prepare for it. A lot of people like to make those meals in a jar. They're great to have, but I choose not to, because I kind of like to go on what products I've got that I've had out for a while and I need to rotate. And you know, today I may not want mushrooms in my meal and tomorrow I do. And so that way I can make a conscious choice of which one I want. So I'm going to cover it about 1 inch. Yeah, maybe 1.5 inches. Now, if you are cooking this on the stove and just bringing it to boil, you might want to put some less water into it, because I'm planning on cooking this for about 5 hours. So a lot of this moisture will be cooked out of it. But that's up to you. If you want to make it a stew or if you want to make it meat. I'm going to turn it to high. And we'll come back in a few hours and taste it. So there we go. Food storage venison. Let's try a taste. Tender and cooked well. Rehydrated. Even the peas. Let's take our bread, dip it in our broth. Garlic cheesy bread. Mmm. Delicious. Blessings.